Just this moment, there's nothing else. Don't bring in future, just this. Then meditation may work for you, but you don't even have to call it meditation anymore. It's just this presence. And so gradually you realize when you're in your daily life, there's then, one could say, I could say there's two of you, or I could say there's three of you. Let's say three. These are temporary divisions. You exist as a physical body. That's the first thing that people see when they meet you. Then you exist as a mental emotional entity that is already invisible because no scientist could detect it with any microscope. So you're the physical body, you exist as an ultimately invisible mental emotional entity. Yes, you can draw conclusions as to the nature of this invisible mental emotional entity by observing how a person reacts and speaks and their facial expressions. You can then see draw conclusions as to the conditioning of this person. But in itself, the mental emotional entity is already invisible. So you essentially are invisible. Even as an ego, you are invisible. And then you go deeper, that's the third. Then you have the being, the unconditioned consciousness. In India, the Indian spiritual psychology or spiritual philosophy, they have the word Turiya. Turiya means the force. First, second, third, fourth. They divide human consciousness into dreamless sleep, which is the first state of consciousness, the dream state, which is the second state of consciousness, the normal wakefulness, which is the third state of consciousness, and then there's the possibility of Turiya, the fourth state of consciousness, which is exactly this, what we're talking about. And this is where they've taught that in India for hundreds of years, for thousands of years, that the possibility that every human carries that potential. It's dormant in most still, but every human carries that potential, this fourth state of consciousness, which is presence, awareness, your life purpose, beyond the purpose that you may have on a personality level. Of course, everybody, you have your own life purpose. You have an activity, you have a job, you're learning this, you're learning that, you have projects, you want to achieve that or that, it's all fine. But all those purposes must be part of a larger purpose. And that larger purpose is to live consciously and to bring presence into your daily life through whatever activity you are engaged in. So that's primary purpose is the awakening of consciousness. The fourth state that they've been talking about for thousands of years. And that is wonderful to know because it means your dissatisfying and unsatisfying personal life is not all there is to you. There is infinitely more, and that liberates you from being trapped in a personality. The personality continues to operate in a better way, more harmonious way. It still has its quirks and so on, idiosyncrasies, yes. It continues to perform whatever it does, but something else is shining through more and more. And at times you may find that the personality temporarily recedes completely, and you then embody just the presence.